days नहीं समझ में आया. Third day to be, I almost had no stand thinking she was almost in tears. We all were like, you're going mad. You can't keep running.
On the second night, I was so ill. And the worst scenario was, I called her phone down and they said, we don't have in-house doctor. And if you want medicine,
Start.
That's okay. First you introduce me, then I'll take Hello everyone.
Ma'am, center में please.
Hello everyone.
Wait.
We are here gathered for an interesting session today. So I'll just let the speakers talk for themselves. I'm just inviting Dr. Meghana to start. Thank you, Meghana. Hi everyone. So today's topic is about longevity via Ayurveda, and I invite you all to participate in this session. Since it's a little smaller group of people, I would like to introduce first of all myself. My name is Dr. Meghana Dikshit, and I practice Ayurveda since past 20 years in Mumbai. I run 3 holistic wellness spas in Mumbai, and also I have a holistic wellness coaching and personal excellence institute. Ayurveda, is it okay if I give a little bit of my background, how I got into Ayurveda? Okay? Like, when I go places and when I talk about Ayurveda, people feel, oh wow, this is like something she's like really passionate about. Well, it didn't start like that. Let me be really honest, it didn't start like that. When I was in my 12th standard, here in India, what happens is, you first preference is given to the modern medicine allopathy, and if you miss out on those certain marks, then you get into the other streams of medical. At least it was there 25 years back. So I obviously missed my certain percentage and I got into Ayurveda because my father said either to take dentistry or Ayurveda. And when I got in, when I was thinking about dentistry, I told my father I can't get into someone's mouth for all my life, so it's okay, I'll take Ayurveda. And that's how I started with Ayurveda. For the first 2 years, I just couldn't get any head tail of Ayurveda because it was all in Sanskrit, it was heavy scriptures. Though I was fairly good student, so I was assimilating and learning things, but it wasn't giving me that feeling of that this is something which is I would like to do for all my life. And then I entered into the final year, and all that I had learned in the first year and the second year, and when I came into the third year, I just felt like, wow. I mean, it's really wow. The basics were like so boring. I didn't understand why should I study 5 elements. You know, you come from a school where it is never taught to you in the school at all, anything. So you don't know anything about it, and suddenly you end up and you suddenly are talking about the 5 elements, and there are 5 types of, kind of things are there in the world, and your body is made up of that, you have emotions in your mind. And I don't think so at 17, 18 at that time. Now I see the youngsters are much more aware of such things, but we were not so much aware of it, And when I got into the final year of my Ayurveda, that's where everything kind of like came to me in terms of like, this is what something I would like to do for all my life. And then nobody used to practice Ayurveda, like hardly anyone would practice. I mean, the doctor here would definitely vouch, she must have gone through the same. So I remember out of 250 students in my batch, which is out of 5 colleges, we were like literally counting on our fingers, about 10 to 15 people started practicing Ayurveda. Everyone told me that you're stupid, you're not going to earn any money because it's not popular, nobody is going to come to you. And my degree qualifies me to practice allopathy as well because we've studied allopathy. I was hell-bent of practicing Ayurveda because I realized something very, very beautiful about Ayurveda, which I would like to share. In Ayurveda, there is one problem, like any problem you take, any physical illness you take, and you have thousands of herbs. I'm not kidding. Thousands of herbs for one problem. Why are so many herbs in Ayurveda? Because there are multiple prakritis, that is constitution people carry. It's a very personalized treatment. And whereas I'm not comparing the two pathies, but if you have fever, generally, what would you give in allopathy? You would prescribe certain medications which are like standard. Like whoever comes for that particular problem, you will get the same medicine from the doctor. But in Ayurveda, for one single problem, if you have two different people, the treatment, the lifestyle, the diet, the whole approach changes. And that is something happened to me in final year of Ayurveda, which was really, really boom for me. And since then I'm practicing, I learned, once I graduated, I post-graduated into Panchkarma, which is the detoxification therapy of Ayurveda. And fundamentally, Ayurveda has got 8 branches. Out of that, today we are talking about longevity here, so out of that there are 2 main streams which practice the longevity is Rasayan, Chikitsa and Vajikaran. Vajikaran goes into a little bit of, the other aspect of vitality and all. And Rasayana is something, how many of you have heard of Chavanprash? Wow, almost everyone has heard. So the name Chavanprash itself, Chavanprash is a combination of herbs, and it's basically a semi-liquid form herb paste, which is given to the people right at any age to build immunity. And the name itself came from Chavan, which was an ancient sage who turned around his old age into young age again. So the paste is given his name because this is, it seems, he has consumed and he turned around the age. So these are the medicines which are available in Ayurveda. These are the herbs which are available in Ayurveda, which is fantastic combinations. And each and every person, when I spoke about 5 elements, is anyone here knows about 5 elements? Yeah? So would you like to share?
The elements of air, earth, water, space and fire.
Yeah. So that's exactly right. So our body is made up of these 5 elements. And recently it has been discovered, like nobody could identify where is the space, which is ether, in the body. Ayurveda has mentioned this 5,000 years back, that there is space and there is ether and there is something called as lymphatic system, which is so strongly now been coming in the observation of the modern science. For the past 50 years there is research happening on it, and then now people are talking about the pH value of the blood and eating healthy, and you have to eliminate this diet and you have to do this and you have to do that. Which is like, I wonder, like 5,000 years back when there was no modern system, how did these sages discover all this and they came up with all this? So it is such a fantastic pathy to talk about, first of all, because I'm passionate about it and I also have observed it. Now about my own experience with Ayurveda is, as a child I have been a very sickly child. So I used to get bronchial attacks. So if anyone knows about bronchitis, almost every month, and my mother had taken me to every other doctor as a child. Like, I visited almost every pediatrician in Mumbai. But nothing could cure me, and the doctor said, you have to take the medicines and you have to continue living like this. Eventually what happened is when I got into puberty and teenage, it became worse. Because now I got my periods and then it also got combined with the bronchitis. So there's definitely something wrong that here I'm getting my menstrual periods and there I'm getting the bronchial attack. It's the 2 together. And adding to that, when I got into medical college, when my Ayurveda college, the third disease I caught on to is colitis. And all these 3 would come together on the same 4 days. And nothing could stop it. When I got into the final year, till then I was struggling to understand it. I could never relate to it because never have taken Ayurvedic medicines, always been taking some allopathic medicine. So, it's very hard for you to change your habit and change your thinking like that. this is something which I can try. Then when I got into the final year and I realized that there's so much more here, and then I met my senior doctor, I would call it guru, and he kind of diagnosed my whole problem, and it was about Vata imbalance. Now Vata is basically the two elements in the body, air and space, which were so haywire, and Vata also has got, this is a little theoretical, but Vata has also got 5 types of Vata. There are 5 types of air and space combination which is there in the body. So apparently my lower part of the Vata, which is called as Apan Vayu, was going all upwards. Because my stomach was not fine, I was probably constipated, I was not clean in my stomach, whatever was happening, and on top of it I was injecting myself with so many medicines. I think it was all haywire because my gut health wasn't appropriate. It so happened when I started with the medicines he gave me, eventually the medicines were all herbs and all diet changes. And he told me one thing which is so, people all talk about Ayurveda is all about vegetarian, and people all go about vegetarian. That's not all about Ayurveda. I wouldn't say that that's all about Ayurveda. Ayurveda has recommended non-vegetarian food also if required. Okay, Ayurveda has gone to an extent that there is a mention of tuberculosis and HIV also in Ayurveda. So the people have validated these diseases and the problems, and so he told me to have crab soup. Now for me, I don't know, I come from a non-vegetarian family, but for me crab soup was something which was like, I felt I can't take this. But I had reached the point in my life where I was so frustrated with all my diseases and the problems. And it would just happen, you people can understand this, every month you are kind of falling sick. You are literally falling down and you are waking up again, you are walking again on your path, and then again you are falling down. So every month I would pick myself up, go down, pick myself up, go down. And I was so frustrated. If someone would tell me to eat even cow dung, I was ready to do that to get myself cured. So some herbs and some paste, and with that he gave me the crab soup and he said just continue having this. And miraculously in 3 months time, I started feeling that my disease started prolonging. The attack started prolonging. Where it used to be 1 month, it started becoming 3 months, 6 months, to an extent that it came down to only having the cold. It used to begin with the cold, upper respiratory problems, then it would go in my throat, my nasopharynx which is behind, and then it would travel down to my chest. And the attack would come, and nothing could stop it. So that's how the whole process of, those problems started. The episodes became very few and the cold was permanent. That never went away. I graduated, I got into practice, and when I got into practice, as I said, I was academically very good. I was pretty much practicing well in my college. And when I got into the practice, I was thankful and still very thankful that right from the day one I had enough patients. Enough patients to come to me, and my practice was thriving. And I knew that I am doing every possible thing under the sun which I knew and which my seniors taught me to cure my patients. And I was doing that. And it is written somewhere in Ayurveda that if the patient comes to you and if you diagnose it properly and if you treat the person properly, the person will not come back to you with the same problem. That's how it is supposed to be. So I said, okay, I'm doing all possible things. Some cases came which were challenging, so I used to take advice from my seniors and we would go along with that. But I realized after 3-4 years of my practice that the same people used to start coming back again to me with the similar problems. And that's something definitely I'm not doing right. And as a fresher at that point of time, your experience is little. As a doctor, you never feel satiated with your experience because every time you're getting something or the other to experience. So I started doubting myself, maybe I'm doing something is wrong, maybe something is going wrong here and I'm not doing something right. That's when I started talking to people to get more understanding, more history, what is the source to identify. And when I started talking to people, I started realizing, and people started just opening up, and the whole Pandora box opened up, where they started telling me about the diseases Suppose someone comes to me with old woman would come to me with the arthritis and knee joints and problem, and she would come and I would just ask her curiously that what has happened in the past and things like that. Generally, I observe, this is one thing I would like to talk about women especially because we are here. Rheumatoid arthritis cases, I started observing and the women started telling me there was a history of miscarriage and abortion in every single rheumatoid arthritis case. I started wondering, how is it like that? Then I went back to see, because in Ayurveda it is mentioned that once you are pregnant and when you deliver the baby, that's because your hormonal system is changed. Here in India, what happens is, once you delivered a baby, you have to go through a certain process of recuperation. For yourself, for baby, you may call it a bonding with the baby, or you may call it as, getting back on your normalcy. But it is basically to rest out and take the hormones in the balance and at the same time remove the rest of the waste from the body. But these women, those who have gone through the miscarriage and abortion, have never gone through it. Because generally in India, people don't even say that they have gone through miscarriage and abortion. They hide it. They don't want to show it. So what happens is and also you've not delivered a baby. So ideally you've not done much of the work. So get back. So women just go, they abort or they get miscarriage, they clear themselves up, the DNC is done, and they're on their feet and they're doing all the stuff that they have to do. So these women, those who are going through, they were not allowing themselves to rest and recuperate and get the hormones on balance. The same thing happened in the diabetes. Same thing I observed in the diabetes. Certain things, certain lifestyle diseases which came up in women especially when they have not rested enough during their pregnancy or their deliveries or may have gone through miscarriage and abortion. Now this thing started telling me that, I think every disease has something to say. So from there, when I started understanding, I feel that every disease is a counterintuitive of cure. It tells you that you have to cure your problem. That's why the disease comes and that's why it talks to you. So when I started studying all this, I realized people, when they started telling me about their relationship issues, their career issues, their personal issues, their self-esteem, things like that. Women came to me. I'm just addressing a lot of women issues here at this moment. Because women used to start coming to me for thyroid problems. When they came with thyroid, when I started talking to them, I realized that there is an emotional issue related to the self-esteem and communication. When you are not able to express yourself fully, that's where the women are catching up on this problem. Of course, there is physiological problem. I'm not saying that there is no physiological issue. There is hormonal and there is chemical issues there which are deprived of. But everything started connecting from body, emotions and your thoughts. And that's where the whole process of Ayurveda I started discovering. That's where even chakras came in place. How many of you are aware of chakras? Okay. So for those who are not aware of, there are 7 chakras, major 7 chakras in your body. And they are attached to your endocrine system. The endocrine system is basically your hormonal system. It starts from the tip of your head. There are 2 chakras here and 2 glands here. I'm not getting in detail of that because we have 2 more speakers. Then the 3rd chakra is here in the throat. Then is heart, then solar plexus, then goes sacral chakra, and down there at the perineum is the root chakra. Now surprisingly, you would observe this in pregnancy in women. You will find most women go to the piles or any kind of a problem which is related to the perineum. Now it's all about the pressure coming on your root chakra because you're giving birth to another baby. Now yes, there is a physical there where your pressure is coming up, but also emotional and mental issues. So for me, the longevity, and if I didn't know, I suddenly entered in the topic because Bilay requested me. I've got my 20 years old picture. The 20-year-old me and the 42-year-old me has such a difference. People come and tell me, even those who have met me 5-10 years back come and tell me that I look much younger now than I used to look then. Why? There is nothing that I have not, I'm always a healthy eater, there is no problem in the eating or there is nothing. I feel the emotions I freed myself through. Yeah. The emotions I freed myself from has given me so much of anti-aging. Honestly, women, I mean, you got to understand about the whole system which is internally there. Yes, you got to eat right, you got to sleep well, you got to understand that there is exercise which is so much important. In India, there is less emphasis given on the exercise. So I really feel that 20 minutes, 25 minutes every day is important. You know what, I have met women, Indian women telling me that, you know, what exercise? We are standing whole day, we are in the kitchen, we are doing this and we are doing that. And I'm like, that's not what is called as exercise. Exercise is something, because exercise gives you that focus in your body. That it gives you that stability in your body. It gives you the flow of blood in your body, which is the right way. And also allows you to drain your lymphatics, which is very important for any human being, especially women. If you observe in women, after menopause, they mostly latch on to the lifestyle diseases. Because now one aspect of your elimination is cut down from the body. So if you have to focus on something, you must focus on draining your lymphatics. You all are educated, well-read women, and I'm sure if you read about these things more, you will be able to direct yourself to longevity. Anti-aging is nothing to do with Botox or nothing. Please don't get there. You'll cut down all your expressions. Like you see the actresses, they can't even smile well. You can do so much more with a healthy diet, exercise and lifestyle. With this, I'm stopping myself here because I can go on and on. I have the next session at 4:45 on Ayurveda only, so I can talk more about it. I invite Bilay to talk about it more.
Hi, thank you, Dr. Meghana. She's left with a note. She said anti-aging. She's actually gone through so much academics. So my approach is going to be more of just say what age is. What is age? It's just a number. It's a zero behind your number 1 or number 2 or number 3. And it's just a number. And in the West, we are so much actually hyped up and worried about the age, and we start worrying about it. Why do we worry about it? And those worries and fears and the anxiety around our lives that we actually create stops us breathing, stops us being normal, and stops us also, we lose ourselves thinking about this. So why do it? What we do every day makes us who we are, and the healing methods in our way of conducting our lives is actually more important than what anybody else can really tell you what to do. So with that in mind, what we do every day determines not only who we are to this life, but also who we will become in our future life. We must have the right will and the true resolve to live in harmony. And this actually is called Kruti in Sanskrit. And the Kratu, it means intelligence in action. And the actions is through this we take control of our life and we cease to be victims of our actions. What we do every day is real religion because it shows what we truly value in our lives. Our bad habits, our wrong habits are not only bad for the health, but they're also bad, and they create a predisposition which becomes illness. The illness, which are actually, Dr. Meghana has already talked about the doshas. I'm just going to talk about the 3 main doshas, which is just going to just explain what the 3 doshas actually manifest is we are not in balance. They need to be in balance 100%, but 1 can be out, 2 can be out, and 3 can be out, then you will be ill. The kapha is the people that tend to have congestive diseases, and the pitta is inflammatory, and the vata is nervous diseases. Ayurveda life requires regimes that we need to follow, helps us to overcome with these methods of preventing as well as curing diseases. They are simple, non-invasive, non-traumatic, and generally don't interfere with our forms of other forms of treatment. self-care methods aim mainly at purifying and pacifying the diseases. Ayurveda promotes sattvic or pure lifestyle that gives peace and clarity of mind. And I'm just going to actually talk about just the purity, the sattvic life, which is it's almost a yogic life. If we can actually all try to maintain that, and that is just the essence of being in balance and just creates self-awareness. There are few elements that we can actually bring into our life. Physical purity, that includes pure diet, pure air, water, physical cleanliness, and self-cleanliness. Purity of mind, which includes truthfulness, honesty, humility, equanimity, non-violence, compassion to all beings. Purity of lifestyle includes a bright livelihood, pleasant speech, pleasant environment, and avoiding noise. Pure sattvic lifestyle includes devotion to the divine, service to humanity, practice of yoga, and meditation. All of these is what I also try to practice. Exercise, Dr. Meghana said, exercise is what keeps me ticking. I stand here. My Ayurveda interest has always been, right from the childhood, it came to me as I was actually more or less born into it. I used to see my father, he would take, we used to live on the outskirts in India, next to a village. So we had fresh produce and everything coming in. And my father was very keen. He would go out in the morning and bring datan for us, those neem sticks. So we used to use that for cleaning our teeth. And then he would have, he would squat every morning. So he did that, and I've only learned the squatting through my yoga and my exercise. You know, we do these things because it brings movement, it balances our vata. And then I would see him also having, anytime his tummy was upset, he was very, very particular about eating on time, eating right food on time, and eating properly with concentration, so you're actually connected to yourself. And I remember whenever I was ill, he would be the one who would actually, before going to work, he would take my pulse, make sure that mommy gave me the right, don't give her any heavy foods. And I remember that when we were actually getting better, I remember looking forward to a lovely tadka dal, halki, just very light dal, and this particular vegetable I still remember that I would have, because we would actually look forward to it. So with that, it's not about getting too seriously about your life as well. Anti-aging is all about keeping your mind young. And I'm at the prime example. I have 2 grandchildren who I'm actually a second grandmother to them. And I enjoy every moment, and I love anything spontaneous. Just be yourself, and the importance of looking after yourself and self-care is that it's not about getting older. People think about getting older. Oh, I'm going to be ill. I don't want to do that. I have aches and pains, because we are actually tuned to listening to all that. But you can stop that. I would thoroughly recommend that you all go into self-inspection, go and have your dosha. I think everybody should really go and have their doshas. It's just a simple thing that you can actually use as your tool and start looking after your body, the mitochondria that we have, because the cellular level is where we actually need our DNAs are based. This is where the diet comes in. We can say that I'm eating healthy. You might be eating healthy, but you may be eating the wrong healthy food which doesn't suit your body. I have taken this step forward. I've got a school. I'm teaching people to come to me to learn to cook. About nutritional food. And when they come in, they also get their doshas and they get education on that. And it's a service that I give. I'm doing it out of my passion because I believe in it. And when somebody says to me, I'm starting, tell me how to make the simple dal, how to make the khichdi. It's just so simple. And with that, I would say thank you very much. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Bilay. I invite the first speaker now. She'll introduce herself.
Good afternoon, everyone, and I'm Dr. Amit Puri, and I'm scientist by profession, social activist by choice, and I have come up with my own venture, and that is called AKP Healing Garden, Amit Puri's Healing Garden, and I am dealing with nakshatra plants in it, then Rashi 1. We are having 12 different kinds of Rashis in our Indian mythology, so each and every Rashi is having 12 plants. Then I have Navgraha plants with me, and I deal basically with the plants. Why do I deal with the plants? How I heal with the plants? This is what we are going to discuss now. And since the nakshatras are, everybody is aware of what is nakshatras. These are the stars. We live in a universe. We live in a space, and these universes are having stars, different kinds of stars. And in Indian mythology, we are having 27 such stars. Each and every person born here is having some or the other stars which is going to dominate his or her personality. So now let us start with the one law. In physics, there is a one law. That is, energy is neither created nor destroyed. And each and everything in this nature, in this universe, vibrates. It is in the form of energy. Each and everything is in the form of energy, I read. And these energies are transmitted to others, and so there is a transmission of energies. We may attract the negative energies, or we may attract the positive energies. Similarly, the emission of energy may be positive or negative. And these are going to make a lot of difference in our day-to-day life, in our health issues, in our financial issues, as well as for our happiness. How we are curing ourselves by using these plants. Now, from where the energy comes from? Are we the source of energy? No. We are just a form of energy. What is the source of energy? Source of energy is the sun. And we, as a human being, we cannot grasp those energies because our system is not inbuilt. Our cells is not having that thing which captures the sun's energy. When we were very small, when we were young, we used to study about photosynthesis. Okay, the process of photosynthesis, in which what happens? Plants are having chlorophyll content in them, which attracts the solar energy, and this solar energy is taken by plants in a positive way, and they manufacture their food. This food is eaten by us in some form or the other. You know the food web. Some people are vegetarian, others are non-vegetarian. Even non-vegetarian are also indirectly consuming these plants. Suppose there is some green leafy vegetable, cow is eating it, goat is eating it, and then some vegetarian people, they are eating it, and non-vegetarians, what they are eating, goat or hen. So indirectly what they are consuming plant. This is all about eatables. Similarly, there is lot of energy stored inside these plants, and each and every plant corresponds to the stars. So this is about the small description which we are going to discuss now. Now I will be showing you the PPT. Different 27 type of stars which rule us can be managed by the use of these different kinds of plants, and each and every nakshatra is having one plant of its own. By planting these plants around us in our houses, in our workplace, or by distributing it also, we are going to heal the aura around us, and we are building a positive aura around us. This is what we are dealing now. Can you change the slide, please? These are the various nakshatras. Next, please. So, nakshatra means stars, as I told you, and one means garden. Each and every person born on the earth will belong to any one of these 27 stars. If you have the exact time of birth, it can be easily traced down. Now, each tree which we are going to discuss here corresponds to that particular star. I hope you all understand, because this I have briefed. Next, please. So, this is about the zodiac signs, which is divided which is having 27 divisions. You can see at the North Pole there is the Ashwini. Then at the side, Ashwini is the first nakshatra at the top, Ketu. In Hindi we call it Ketu. Then nakshatras, we are measuring nakshatra in anti-clockwise manner. First and second is next to it, that is anti-clockwise. It is Bharani nakshatra, which corresponds to Venus, and so on. And the last one is the 27, that is called Revati nakshatra. It corresponds to Mercury. Next, please. Now you have seen it's a form of circle. Nakshatra is in the form of circle, that is 360 degrees. We have learned in the geometry, plane line, that is 180 degree, it measures 180 degree, and when it is a complete circle, it measures 360 degrees. So 360 degree of orbit is divided into 27 nakshatras. So nakshatra 1 has 27 trees. It begins from Ashwini and ends at Revati, the thing which we have seen in the diagram before. In the list of nakshatras, Ashwini begins, the first is placed at the center in the north direction. Remaining are planted in a sequential order in anti-clockwise direction. Therefore, on the left of Ashwini we have Bharani, and at the right we have Revati. Next page. Now this is the nakshatra vatika. In this way we can place the plant. You can see Ashwini, that is Kuchila. Then the plant which corresponds to Ashwini nakshatra is Kuchila. For Revati it's Mahua. For Bhadrapad it is Neem. For Pur Bhadrapad it is Am, and so on. These are the different names, Indian names of the plants which corresponds to these type of nakshatras. Next, please. Now, how we set up the nakshatra garden? Usually, nakshatra garden are set up in the form of circle, because as I told you, nakshatras are in the form of circle, 360 degrees. So it is we set in the form of a circle, and it has 3 parts. First one is the outer circle, second one is the middle circle, and third one is the innermost circle. And it has the exact measurement to place these plants in this circle. First, outer circle should be 29.4 meters of diameter. Then 25 meters middle circle, and the inner circle should be 21 meters. Now, it is not possible if we are living in a flats. How we will place? This distance is very huge. How we will place these plants? These plants we can take the ratio, and then we can plant those plants around us, depending upon the availability of the place and the venue.
And what about if there's many members of the family with different plants?
Pardon?
If there's many members of the family, we have different stars, different
Yeah,
plants.
actually, the people who come to me they come with different elements. You know, like if you have come, so I will put the plant according to cure your element. Otherwise, if you have come as a whole to heal the aura of your house or to heal the aura of your office, then the head of the family will be taken in consideration. Venue can be taken into consideration, and the direction of the sun is taken into consideration. So we consider the head of the family and place these plants according to his nakshatras. Or you have come with your particular problem, so we will place according to heal your problem. Next. It is very crucial that every tree in the one is detached completely from the other trees. Then only it shall be beneficial. You can see each and every tree is detached by using these different type of herbs. You can see in the picture. It takes 5 to 6 years for a tree to grow well. Next. What are the benefits of Nakshatra garden? All the trees are rich in medicinal properties. Nakshatra one will provide the beneficiary with peace and wisdom. Growth will be attained more than the money power. The purpose of Nakshatra one can never be merged with the commercial farming. However, it can have the elements of aesthetics. The position of the trees has to be in strict alliance with the respective Nakshatra. Rest one can add other features of landscaping like fountains and grasses. Next please. Now in this picture we can see the particular tree is healing this man sitting in a meditating pose. Suppose I belong to Ashwini Nakshatra and I have placed that plant and I sat and meditate against that plant or under that plant, under that tree. And if we don't have space much, so we can use bonsais also for this plant. But I am sitting and meditating with that tree. I am going to cure myself. This nakshatra is going to cure my whole well-being. Well-being is not only physical well-being. It may be physical, it may be mental, it may be financial. It cures our relationships also. So whatever you desire, and you are putting full efforts to get it, but you are not getting. What is the reason behind? Because you fail in your nakshatras. So for curing these nakshatras, we are using this plants. Next please. Now this is the first nakshatra called Ashwini and it corresponds to poison nut. Next. Second nakshatra Bharani, it corresponds to Avla. Then gooseberry, Kartike, then cluster fig. Rohini nakshatra corresponds to Jamun. Then Meghana corresponds to Katha. We use this Katha, red color Katha in our betel leaves. When we eat betel pan, so in that we are using Katha. So this corresponds to the fifth nakshatra. Arudra for agar wood. Then we are using bamboo plants to cure Purnavasu. Then peepal plant to cure Pushpayamini. And so on. Please keep on changing. These are the different plants which corresponds to particular nakshatra. 12th nakshatra. Then the nakshatra number 13, Pali mango, 14 with Bilwa or Gale, 15 with Arjuna, 16 with elephant apple, 17 with Bakul, 18 with pine trees, 19 with black dumber, 20 with Sita Ashok, 21 with jackfruit, 22 with milkweed, 23 with Shami, 24 with Kadam, 25 with Neem and 26 with mango. Next is Revati with Mahua. 27 and the last one. So sitting under the birth star tree surely proffers the physical and the mental well-being. The person was supposed to take care of the tree as his child because it was believed that the more good and the healthy the tree will grow, it will prosper more health and happiness.
What was the 26 number? 26 number? Uttara Bhadrapad?
We can discuss. May we all believe in astrology or not, we will definitely agree to one simple thing, and that this concept of plant adoption was one of the very smartly planned conservation strategy by our ancestors. Today, looking at our selfish and just consume attitude towards the whole and soul of our life, Mother Nature, we find it really necessary to rejuvenate and spread this concept of adopting at least one plant per person. Next please. nakshatra plants are forever. So this is all about my thing of nakshatra, and I am dealing with similarly with Rashi ones also, and Navgraha plant, and the oxygen, more and more oxygen emitting plants, and in schools and colleges, we are seeing in day-to-day life, these students, they are having very less memory power. The storage power is not much. They don't want to read. They don't want to write. They are just using electronic media. Why is it so? So to improve their mental status, to improve their concentration, their memory power, I am also providing kit of 6 plants, and that is to heal the goddess Saraswati. Similarly, we can heal ourselves, the goddess Lakshmi, to get more and more finances. So this is not, I am not saying it is merely just, it's not for the sake of saying, but it is research based. 5 years of research based. In the year 2008, I faced some problems, and it was a do and die situation. Before this, I have never, since I am a scientist, I am a science student, I never believed on this nakshatra, I never believed on these things. But I faced so much of problem, there was nothing, I was feeling like I am all alone, what to do now? So I was just reading a book in a library, very old book in a library, and only 2 lines were mentioned. There are few plants which heals a nakshatra. Then I started surveying, I started researching, I came up with this concept of mine, and this paper I presented in the University of California in the year 2014, and it was highly accepted, and this is tried and tested. It belongs to India, but we need to spread this thing to make the people more and more healthier, mentally, physically, financially, to empower them. So I am presenting this, so everybody should take benefit out of that. And these are not very expensive also. I am providing kits, and very nominal charges. And if somebody is not able to pay me also, then also I am helping in one form or the other. This is a one way of social work. So in our scripture, in Guru Granth Sahib, it was mentioned कि पवन गुरु पानी पिता माता तरत महत दिवस रात गाई गाया खेले सगल जगत चंगियाइयां बुरियाइयां वाचे तरम हजूर कर्मी आपो आपनी के निरक दूर. I will translate this. Pavan Guru. Pavan means air. Air is our guru. Air is our teacher. Pani Pita. Pani means water. Water is our father. Mata Dharat Mahati. The earth is our mother. So Pavan, air, water and earth. These are our guru, teacher, mother and father. So it was mentioned 600 years back. And so we have to respect our mother. We have to respect our father. We have to have respect for our teachers. And this is nothing but this is a nature. So I hope we are going to adopt this nakshatra concept in our day-to-day life to make us more happier, to make ourselves more humble, and to make ourselves more successful. I am the live example of this. In 2008, nobody was knowing him. I was just Mrs. Puri, wife of my husband, and so I was the daughter of my father. But now, in due course of time, it has changed. Now people know me by my name, Dr. Amit Puri. I have identity of my own. This was my desire, which got fulfilled. Thank you.
Thank you, all the interesting speakers and their interpretations of Ayurveda. Very interesting. I would invite all the speakers, please. Questions for either of them? Yeah?
I have a question for Meghana as well as for Amit. So my first question is for Meghana. You have given a complete spin on the grassroots issue of any disease. honestly, I have read a lot about. I'm not a doctor. I have nothing to do with medical. But for family members, you generally read a lot, and that was a super spin. And now when I'm thinking that maybe it's correct. With the examples that you gave, so possibly there was more of a comment rather than a question. And maybe I want to connect back with you to understand furthermore, because this is something which is not known, it's nowhere. I think we should be talking more about it.
Thank you so much, Deepa. It is really, it feels good because whenever I talk to people and I tell them it's filling because it's all there in our scriptures and we have forgotten it, which is so sad. Indians have all this.
And I don't see any Ayurvedic doctors also talking about it.
Yeah, so that's a limitation of our society. You won't believe, Deepa. I'm just sharing this because I had gone last 10 days. I was in UK and I was talking to a group of Indian doctors and IT professionals. Okay, one of them came to me and said, "This is all rubbish." He's a South Indian. Imagine how much in South India there is Ayurveda. And he said, "This is all rubbish. There is no science to this. This is mumbo jumbo." And I said, "You know what? I'm not convincing you. I'm okay to what you want to believe, you can believe." And I concentrated on the rest of the 99% of the population. But how much I know it is a science and how much all these women are going to talk about it, it is complete science and it talks about such deeper level of science. The pathogenesis which is mentioned in Ayurveda, pathogenesis is basically the samprapti, which is they call it as from where the source of the disease is and from where it goes. So actually the deeper pathogenesis, I was to wonder as a student that there is no comparison between the modern science and Ayurveda. Because there's so much more deeper written in Ayurveda and given in Ayurveda. Because it's unfortunate that whatever the reasons, but we are not practicing this. And I have this whole desire and I really want to connect to the schools in this process, that I want to teach the kids, the younger kids and their parents about the importance of understanding your emotions and how it is manifesting as disease. Disease is basically dis-ease. Whatever takes away your ease is disease. So get the ease back in your life and your disease is out. Thank you so much for validating.
Again, very similar question to Amit. The whole idea of nakshatra trees. Till date we have had trees, shrubs, herbs, creepers and all that. And now you're talking about nakshatra plants. Never heard of, never read of. Again, the question. Honestly, I am not able to relate to it, very honest. But maybe, yes. I don't know where it is written, but it would be possibly written somewhere.
Thank you for asking the question. That shows that how you are interested in the subject. Okay. So, taking towards a positive note, I have read this in the Charak Samhita. It is mentioned by Charakji that there are few plants which dominates each and every nakshatra, and it is forgotten. Now there are things, so many things in India. We are blessed with so many natural things, plants, rivers. You can see so much. So we are having mountains, we are having seas, we are having different type of creatures in India, but we are not respecting them. People from outside country, they are coming, they are respecting, they are doing research on our things. And that is incredible. Why not? We should also respect. We should go back to our history, which is written there. And why not? We should do research on those things. Each line is the topic for research in India. Each line mentioned in the scripture is a deep topic of research, and we should do that. And after researching, if we are coming up with a positive, affirmative results, we should go for patentship also. And this nakshatra plants, Because I was into deep misery that time. My health was going, economically I was very broken, my relationships were very well. I am committing this in front of everyone because 2008 year was very bad for me. And before this I was analyzing everything, why this, why that, why. I was having questions. I was having, till now I am having analytical mind. But then that time I was not having anything in my support. So when you are drowning, the support of even a small boat is sufficient. So I started researching and I was the first subject of practical for myself for this nakshatra plants. I brought these plants, these plants were available free of cost in my labs and in the place where I was working as a professor. I brought these plants back at home. I placed it properly in the fashion in 360 degrees as I have explained. And I was the first subject of my experiment. And you can see the result. I am standing in front of you in Women Economic Forum and I am speaking. That girl which was not supposed to stand in front of anyone. I was not having that confidence, but I am endorsing my nakshatra garden because it was mentioned there. So if you want to take benefit, there is no harm. There is a one way of conservation also. If you are having analytical mind, you think you are conserving the nature. You put this plant around you and you will see the results. Thank you so much.
I have something to say on that. See, when I was talking about the 5 elements, and it's mentioned in Charak Samhita. In fact, it is mentioned that whenever you are making any herbal paste or any medicine, there is a particular time, muhurta. You have to pluck the plant also, and before plucking the plant, you pray to the plant. Because there is a certain sort of a vibration and energy you are taking from the plant, right? And you are plucking from the source and giving it somewhere else. And we talk about 5 elements, and Ayurveda talks about the constellation. So what happens is, it's not about you being on Earth planet. It's about the whole dynamics of the universe, which is taken in consideration. That's why I said, I have not seen such a deeper study and such deeper pathogenesis, which is taken care of. Ayurveda also says that Jyotish, or the nakshatra and Rashi, which are now questioning it because you feel it's astrological, it's a sister concern. It's a sister of each other, and both go hand in hand.
I get it, that it's an offshoot. It is somewhere connected. Yes. And then my surprise is that the way in allopathy or homeopathy we always talk about it. There is the connections are also spoken about. Why is it not spoken in Ayurveda?
Yeah, I tell you, it is all spoken in Ayurveda. The problem is because we have invaded so many times that the scriptures are not there now. People have stolen away those scriptures. So whatever we have right now is only the 1/8 part of actual Ayurveda. And we are surviving, and people like us are researching on what is available. Like this whole emotional part must be there. And why nobody talks about it? Because nobody went in that direction. There is Agada Tantra. Like I said, there are 8 angles of Ayurveda, 8 streams of Ayurveda. One of them is Agada Tantra. Now Agada Tantra is all about, it is also mentioned as Bhuta Tantra. Now Bhut means people think it's a ghost. And people think it's about black magic. It's not. It's about, Agada Tantra is all about researching on subjects like emotions, thoughts, mind. It is all mentioned there. And I went into that direction because whatever way I felt inclined and I was pushed towards that direction. Now not everybody will go in that direction because it's not a money-making thing. It's all about passion. People won't pay. Initially they would say, we don't want to get into this. Give us the medicine, let us go. Because you're spending at practically 3 hours with one client. No doctor would like to do that when you're doing your practice. It's not easy. You're surviving on your practice, right? And in India, you know how it is. People spend on hotels and clothes. They don't want to pay for the health system.
It's not only about she has the money. She is made to be for that, because I also studied astrology. I have a background of media person. What Amit has said, I have been to Chitrakoot, and there is a one temple. What she is saying, the whole nakshatra has every plant. I have saw that poster, not poster, it's inscribed over there. And according to Rashi also. See, you have to understand all these allopathy, they surfacely, they cure the symptom, not the root cause. But Ayurveda cure the root cause. That's why it takes time. See, if you go into astrology, we calculate through moon, and moon takes 2.5 days to change the Rashi, but sun takes a month. So their prediction, our prediction are very different. And again we go deep for the nakshatra, and nakshatra also got the 4 charan. 4 charan means 4 part of every nakshatra. So the Indian signs are more and more precise and very deep, as Meghana, if I am correct in recalling. Meghana and Amit, thank God these modern ladies are doing. If any man with the orange color was wearing the dresses, we have called the Sadhu Baba and could
Can
have
I add
rejected
to
it.
this that I live in England. I was born here, but I've been all my life in England. But I read Ayurveda, and when I was actually just recently talking to, I go to a spa because I'm going through my own resetting, and some of the trees that you were talking about, I'm taking them as herbs, and it's actually made me feel like there's an electric charge going through me, Bilba, and some others which I can't remember. But the doctor said to me, I said, I would like to actually introduce my services to the clients that come to your surgery, to your spa. He said, unfortunately, most of my clients are Asian, that they're not interested in actually looking at their diet or even doing something about it. It's enough that they're coming for a massage, but they don't want to do anything about it. So can I urge, I come from the Western head, and I come from the West, and I'm like all the West that are actually coming towards India. I never left my roots, but can I urge everybody, all of you guys, to pass it on and just start practicing it. It's ours, and we need to own it. Thank you.
Thank you
all of you.
They are working very hard.
Let us all gather for a photograph. Come on, fast.
We have taken some time from the next speakers.
Fast. Come.
I also just please come. Please all of you come. Did you speak? Yes, I was.
Oh, sorry, darling. I'm going to take photos of my roomy Bilay.
आ जाइए ना सर, वो फोटोग्राफर ले लेगा फोटो. आप उसको बोल दीजिए ले लेगा. आ जाइए प्लीज आइए.
Come. You also come.
Yes, I'm not taking this photo with family. Please come. I'll take a picture. Please come.
Yeah, I'll take a picture.
Yes.
If we think one at a time.
अरे फोटोग्राफर को तो बुला. Very good.
बुलाने ही गया है.
सुनिए ना, आप ऐसे थोड़े खड़े रहेंगे, सब आ जाएंगे.
आप लोग जाइए, मैं क्लिक कर दूँ.
आ नहीं रहे, मैडम जी पीछे रह गए.
आप भी जाइए. Yes, please go.
This one as well, please.
Yeah, I'll do that.
प्लीज आइए.
आ जाओ.
Careful.
ये रखिए कैमरा.
ये मेरा भी ले लेना.
हाँ वो प्लीज ले लीजिए मेरा. थैंक यू.
Okay.
एक मिनट सुनो.
Yeah.
थैंक यू. Yes, of course. We are connected only there. We should connect with the
आप देखो. अच्छा सब बैठ गए.
वो का CM पेन बाजू में. CM पेन.
एक मिनट, give me your number.
Can I विवेक जी एक मिनट. आपका फोटो ले लो इसका. भूल जाऊंगी. सॉरी, मैं लोगों को मिल रही हूँ ना. I have the mention with CM10 on Ayurveda again, so you guys can come. Oh, great. So we are together.
CM10 now, one as right now. Right, Bilay. CM10.
Where's my phone?
And she was very traumatized.
Just pass me wherever you are.
Can I have your card? No, that's why I'm asking for.
Oh, I think you might be interested in my work. Passion and happiness.
Okay, you're fine. You are from?
It's a deep break.
Okay. I'm working for environment education and women's fields. So you, since you asked and put a question, I thought you are interested in this topic, so I asked you.
I was curious because I didn't know that I arrived too late and decided everything, so I was a little bit disconnected. I just came at the end. But I empower women using kindness.
Okay, fine.
So many people here don't understand it, but it's not.
Everybody is very skeptical.
One more? I'm going to get the top if I can as well.
1 second, pretend speak.
There you go.
Pretend speak.
It's good.
Okay, thank you.
Because it's light coming from the back.
You know, especially if flash.
Yes, that's what I just think more and more people are coming. They will come in. Everybody's been asking me, when are you speaking about this? I just introduced myself and say hello to you. Hi. But I lost the name. Oh, one second.
I'm a little tight.
Did it flash?
It did.
Yeah.
Yes. We'll start in 2-3 minutes. No. So just about yes, we're starting with 24. I'm getting in.
Sir, there is no camera. Okay, he's come.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for attending our session. The title of today's session is called Consulting You In.
is thoughts are powerful. What are you allowing yourself to think? For this particular session, we have 3 esteemed speakers in the room. We'll be learning from Ruqya from the UAE, from Dr. Vandana from India, and from Shubhi also from India. I'll let each one introduce themselves.
So, my name is Ruqya. I'm a wordsmith. So, wordsmith, what does a wordsmith do? She works with words, she does articles, she interviews people, she creates conversation, and she has thoughts. So, Facebook, we all post quotes, we all post statuses. You guys are aware. We all are aware. So, for the last 6 to 7 years, I've been posting my own thoughts on Facebook. And my friend said, why don't you make it a page, come up with something, so it's RK Writes, where I have my thoughts. So that's basically where the topic stemmed from. So thoughts are powerful. What are you allowing yourself to do? So when I'm not writing, when I'm not mothering my 2 children who are watching me, and no, they're not in the room, they're watching from there. And if I'm not there, if I'm not at home, if I'm not doing everything else, I'm traveling. I'm traveling with my husband. So on one such occasion, we went to Bali, and they have a sunrise trek. A sunrise trek where you get up 2 in the morning, and you go way over to Ubud, a mountain there, which is 1717 meters high, and you go up the trek. And when you start trekking, it's still dark. It's rather dark, 2 a.m., very cold. So we went in the summer and we're still a bit chilly, and he said, carry your warm clothes, and I'm wondering, warm clothes? Hey, I'm comfortable. But he said, ma'am, please keep it. So I kept it, along with the zillion other things that I had carried along. And what happened? We started walking. I asked him, how long does it take? He said, oh, no worries, 2 hours, 1.5 to 2 hours. I said, great. 1.5 to 2 hours of trek should be comfortable, no worries at all. What I hadn't anticipated was, 15 minutes after the trek, I realized that the only exercise my body had done so far was get off the car, walk to the mall, and get chocolates. I should have prepared a little more. Half an hour into the trek, and I see behind me there are lots of people coming in. They have bags on, they have a few other things on, and they're walking past me, and they're much healthier and faster. I'm embarrassed, but I keep walking. I keep taking breaks. And after a point I look up, and I see these tiny, tiny lights up the mountain. I look at the guide and I say, it's by now, I can't wait. And he looks at me and he says, you got to go up there. I sat down. No, not happening. It took a good 10 minutes to think. I thought, I came here for this. Is this what I'm going to do? Am I going to give up? Just because I'm tired? Just because I think I'm not capable of it? And I kept thinking, as you are. So what happens when you're in a stuck place and you want to move forward? I think you move from a stuck place to a place of moving forward, making progress, with acceptance and gratitude. Now gratitude, I really don't need to explain over here. Acceptance as well, I don't need to, but I have a formula for it, and I'd like to share that with you. Would you like to hear? Yes, great. So acceptance comes when you smile. That too. Because when you smile, you confuse the person and they think, what's she doing? Other than that, I have an acronym for SMILE. And you might want to take notes if you'd like to, because it's my own thing. S stands for silence the mind. What are you thinking when you are in that stuck place? When you are feeling defeated, when you are feeling lost, what are you thinking? Yes? Silence your mind. And when you say silence the mind, what do you mean? Yak, yak, yak. It's always there. That's what I mean, silence the mind. Silence all those thoughts that go on in your head. M. What does M stand for? M stands for manage your attention. What are you focusing on? Are you focusing on being tired? Not possible. Or are you thinking of the beautiful sunrise that you're going to possibly see? Are you focusing on, oh my God, it's not going to happen? Oh my God, I don't have the tools? Oh my God, I'm not good enough? Or are you managing and are you thinking about what is possible? What comes after M? And smile. I. That word, I. Yes, I is a word. So intention. What is your intention? When you set out on a task and you feel stuck, what is your intention? Why did you start with that task? When the why is strong, the how follows. So I would say, identify your intention. After I, L, thank you. L, let things go. Let them go. Okay, so I wasn't prepared for it. I have to let that go. Until I let that thought go, I'm going to be stuck there. Let it go. And once you let it go, you move forward. And when I say let it go, I also mean forgive. I also mean let go of all the biases, the hurts, the failures, all the things that you are clinging on to for dear life because that's what you think defines you. No, it does not. It does not define you. Your failures do not define you. So let it all go. Forgive. Forgive. When we think of forgiveness, we think of the outside person. The person that hurt you, the person who did that, the person who didn't come in, the people who didn't show up, whatever. But no, the first person that you need to forgive is yourself because you held on to that hurt or held on to that possibility and said, oh, okay, if that happens, then this happens. No, you do it whether you want to. You do it and that's it. Here. E would be the most strongest because E is energize the possibilities. No amount of listening, talking, discussing, idea sharing, brainstorming is going to do anything if you do nothing about it. If you don't put it into action. If someone tells me 5 minutes of workout is enough to feel fresh, and I say, yes, I know that. If somebody tells me I need to have a diary and plan my day and my time, it's not going to do anything until I get that diary and do something with it. Right? So yes, so smile. Smile. And with gratitude. So there I was, on that mountain. Halfway through, I had a decision to make. Am I going to go up or am I going to sit there and watch the sun come up from behind the trees? I stood up. I looked at my husband. He had this huge bag of things on his back. I had carried almost everything in there. You know, how when you go on an occasion and you see, oh, it's that moment, I have to capture it. So you carry everything with you. The camera, the long lens, the tripod, everything. Slippers even. So I looked at him and he was smiling at me and he was just waiting there for me to kind of decide, am I going to move forward or am I going to go back? One thing was for sure, I had him with me in whatever decision I took. So together, we started walking upwards. It began to drizzle. And the guide said, Madam, you need to walk faster. I said, oh great, thank you very much. But yeah, I did walk faster. You know why? Because I looked back. And how far I had come was a lot further than I had to go. And so we walked. We trekked. We tripped a bit. and we reached the top of the mountain. What do you think I saw? It was supposed to be a beautiful sunrise. Unfortunately, because it was cloudy, clouds had covered my view. I was sad, but I thought must be a learning here. And the guides, poor things, were embarrassed. Madam, when you look over there, you can see the other mountain. The waterfall is there, and then you can see another trees over here. I said, yes, thank you very much, but I see only white clouds. And then suddenly those clouds started to turn baby pink, and they blushed. And I was wondering, oh great, the sun is coming out. And then there was a bit of warmth. And just like magic, the clouds began to move. And as they moved, I could hear the birds chirping. I could also see the greenery on the other side of the clouds. I could see the blueness of the lake. I could see the other mountain as well. And yes, it was beautiful. And so I say, what are the thoughts that are going on in your mind? They are very powerful. So always accept, be grateful, and allow the best ones to come to you. Thank you for listening.
Hello everyone, and I'm so happy to see some gentlemen sitting here. I always thought that thoughts are always a problem with women. So I'm glad that it's not like that. So before I start and introduce myself, shall you all turn to your neighbor and say that you are masterpiece of God? Can you please do that? Louder. You are the masterpiece of God. So I'm Shubhi Agrawal and I'm from India. And from a hotelier, I turned to an entrepreneur. I have my company and I deal into home decor products. So I'm quite surprised that these days we are talking so much about depression, stress, going to different doctors, taking so many pills. But thankfully, somehow I was a little bit lucky and blessed enough to find another way. That how can we manage our thoughts? Shall we have slides, please? So, does anybody know the number of thoughts we get daily in our minds? Any rough idea? Yeah. So we have been feminists, so I think we know.
8 to 10,000.
Anybody else?
Might be here.
Yeah. So science proves that average thought we get per day hitting our minds are approximately 50,000 to 70,000. And imagine if we were able to sell all these thoughts, how much we would be, But unfortunately, the fact is all thoughts are not worth thinking of, And shall I have the second slide, please? So, in this picture, I have put dreams at the top. And there is a reason behind it. We have dreams, we have hope, we have faith, we have self-esteem, confidence, blah, blah, blah. So according to the science, approximately we have, let's first understand what thoughts are. So thoughts are an idea or opinion which are produced by thinking or occurring suddenly in the mind. So there are approximately 39 types of thoughts which science proves that human body and human emotions go through in our lives. But in layman language, because I'm not a doctor and I haven't studied psychology or anything else like that, it is just a practical experience which made me stand here and talk to you and share my testimony, what happened with me. So let's talk in layman language and deal it like positive thoughts and negative thoughts. So I would not like to touch negative thoughts at this moment. I will try to speak more on positive and less of negative. So that we just spread some positive vibration in this room. So this is some types of thoughts and emotions a human body and mind go through. And I'm not going to, this is just to show you guys, probably you can go back and study further on this. Here comes my main point. Anybody here who has ever experienced that whatever you think, you are able to visualize? Anybody here? Anybody here? Yeah. Okay, so lots of hands are being raised. So when we are able to connect our positive thoughts to visualize and imagine, and we are able to imagine it, then something supernatural happened. And this is what I'm going to talk about. And here is the strength that you won't need any pills or you won't need any doctor for a long period. So, George Bernard Shaw, I think most of the people must have heard about him. He said that imagination is the beginning of creation. Let's take an example. Somebody, someday, must have imagined to have a mic. And that's why we have a mic today. Somebody, someday, must have imagined, okay, let there be ceilings like this, let there be a wall, let there be table, let there be a tripod, let there be a camera. So everything starts with imagination. So if you are able to convert your positive thoughts into your imagination, I'm sure you would be able to see it happening in your physical life as well. One more example I would like to give here. So we have people from different countries. So don't know about other countries, but in India, when a woman conceives and gets pregnant, she's been told by elders, read good scriptures. She has been given a photo of a beautiful child and baby, and that picture has been pasted on the wall, so that every time she sees that baby, the baby is going to be beautiful. So this is all happening in your imagination. So very frankly, until I knew the secret, it was absolutely ridiculous to me. Because in our modern generation, we do not, believe in certain things, and we do not know. We believe in whatever we see, but we do not believe in whatever we cannot see. So I actually understood this secret when I came to know this particular verse in my life. So this I'm taking from the Beatitudes. Anybody is aware what are the Beatitudes? Very famous. Yeah. So I'm taking the Beatitudes from the Bible, that in one place, Jesus is saying to his disciples that if you have seen a woman lustfully, you have already committed adultery in your heart. And I was surprised, it's my mind, it's my body, I have all the right to think whatever I want to think, and I have all the right to go little, mad on any guy. But what is Jesus saying here? If I'm looking at a guy, just from a female point of view, if I'm looking at a guy, just looking at a guy and have a little bit crush on him, it means I've already done the adultery. It was something, which was not making sense to me. So I went to few people and looked upon what does this mean. So here, there's a word known as heart. May I know, according to the audience sitting here, what is heart? Anybody would like to answer?
It's a center of feeling.
Yeah. Anybody? What is heart? Heart, according to, I'm not talking about the scientific realm. I'm talking about
Love. It's love.
Yeah, that it's a place where the emotion of love takes place. Okay, so heart is here not only a pumping organ, and not that a girl, sends a message to a boy, making that emoji, that heart. Here Jesus is talking something more than what we know about heart. So thoughts are actually like the projector. Thoughts are like the projector, and heart is like the screen, the plain screen. So whatever we place here is actually happening there. So that's powerful our thoughts are. That's powerful our thoughts are. And it completely changed my life. Let me tell you, I was the most negative person. Most negative person. Before stepping out of the house, I would think, what if my car breaks down? What if something went wrong and something went wrong? I don't have confidence. How would I start the business? I have just, small experience in the corporate world and this and that and that. But trust me, since the day I have applied this formula in my life, I am completely a renewed person. Completely a renewed person. So that is something I wanted to say, that how we can convert our positive thoughts into our imagination, and the same way we can actually make it happen through our strong desire to happen in our life. So most of the people are business women here, and they are doing some of the other things. They are entrepreneurs. So this is something I apply in my business, and I have seen huge growth in my business. So this is what I was actually explaining, that this is you are thinking, and this is a shadow of you. So what you are thinking is actually happening in unseen world, which you are unable to see from your naked eyes, but your spirit knows that this is happening. Okay, so now dream big as much as you can. Why I am putting this slide when we are talking about thoughts, because when you will dream big, there will be very less space for your thoughts to think negative. So when I say dreaming big, is not the dreaming that you dream at night. It's the dreams which do not let you sleep. The dream, the passion, the goal of your life which you want to achieve. So when you dream is actually an act of faith. Anybody knows here that dream is actually an act of faith? Have you ever heard? Okay, sister. So dream is actually an act of the faith. When you go to Google and see the definition of faith, Google tells the definition of faith is believing in something which is unseen. You are believing in something which you have not yet seen. So if you are dreaming big that you are going to take your business to London, to US, to Canada, to all the different countries, then keep dreaming. Because you are dreaming something which you have not seen, but it's going to go. It's going to come very soon. It's going to happen very soon. And also, when you dream big, your dream, the bigger your dream is, the bigger your faith is. If you are dreaming less, let me tell you, you do not know how big is the God. Because our God is big. That's why I started saying that you are the masterpiece of God. when you know real God, you will not face the problem with your thoughts. And even if you face the problem with the thoughts, because we are not superwomen, right? We are not super human beings, we are not angels. We do have problems with the thoughts, but you would be able to handle it. And you would not end up spending so many dollars and rupees just visiting a doctor and, just popping pills. Because they will only suppress your hormones. They will never teach you fishing. They will keep on making you go and buy fish. This is something is fishing, You are actually dealing with your thoughts. And you are knowing the art of dealing with your thoughts and your dreams. Okay, now coming back to negative thoughts. How many of you can still remember any dream which has been haunting you guys since childhood? Is there anybody? Wow. Okay. So you guys can meet me after the session. So, let me tell you a practical example, what I'm not ashamed of sharing that. So every time I use a toilet pot, I used to use a toilet pot, I was scared that a snake is coming from the dung of the toilet pot and it is actually, going to kill me. So that was something I used to. I was very scared. I used to get that every time I'm going to toilet. Every time that visual is coming in front of my eyes. It's happening with you.
Yeah, exactly what you're saying. But I'm not very scared. But it's a thought which comes.
I will help you how to deal with it.
It's not really bothering me, but I'm just amazed at, somebody else is also thinking like me, so that's making me laugh. But it's not really bothering me constantly. But it is a thought that comes off, and that there's going to be a snake coming out of the pot.
Yeah, so we can discuss it offline. So, anybody else, any thought which is bothering you, maybe a thought of losing any of your loved ones, or maybe a dream you saw in your childhood and it's still bothering you, how to handle it? Again, the same point, imagination. We need to use, God has given us a huge capability of imagination. Imagine Einstein imagined the whole theory of relativity and still the scientists are scratching the head to actually find out E is equals to mc square, that formula. So Einstein used what? Used imagination and science. So God has blessed us with a huge power of imagination. So what I did, I will not go to anybody's personal example. I'll take my example is, I started countering it and imagining it, okay, I accept the fact that there is a snake coming and which wants to kill me, and every time I go and shit, that's the thought. Imagine, it's not very usual thing, and that's the thought. I get every morning, because that's what you do. The first thing you go and you go to toilet. So what I did is I imagined, okay, there is a snake which is coming and which wants to harm me. Then I imagined that I added from my imagination, that there is a sword coming and cutting the head of that snake, and that snake is no more. So it took me some time, but I think it's over. It took me around 1 month, but now let me tell you that I do not get any such visualizations. So that's the power of imagination. And trust me, you can very, very, very easily handle all the negative thoughts just by using the power of imagination. So if anybody would like to know more about it and how I practice it, it is no religion, nothing, I don't preach any religion. It's just the power of imagination, and definitely it's the love of God how you can handle it. So thank you so much.
If I'm allowed, can I share a comment?
Yeah, sure.
So I used to have this problem a lot, and obviously we're human, so we get a lot of thoughts all the time, and it's scientifically proven that humans get around 70,000 random thoughts, and obviously you don't need to always think about them and implement every thought. So I went to somebody and how do I fix this problem? So she told me, come out of your head. Every time you have a thought is nothing but a thought. It's passing by. It's like on a conveyor belt and it's passing by in your mind. And whichever thought that's important, you hold that thought and you do something about it. Is when it becomes important in your life. Otherwise, thoughts are nothing but it's just how a ticker on a TV flows. It just keeps flowing. You don't do anything about it. It just keeps flowing. Come out of your brain. You look at the negative thought and let it pass. Just let it pass. It's a thought. It's not going to harm you. It's not doing anything to you. It's not real. It's not in your life. If you don't give it importance, if you just let it pass. Just let it pass and go away. It'll never come back. It'll never bother you. You'll not think about it. And you'll be happy.
Just want to add here, till the time it is thought it's okay and you are able to let it pass, it's okay, but if it comes to visualization, that's not right. In case if it is negative thoughts. So if it comes to visualization, if you are visualizing some nightmares, if you are visualizing that somebody is running behind me or something like that, because I have seen so many people, not girls only but boys also, they visualize a lot of negative things. So that's not, here you need to deal with your imagination.
Thank you. I think everyone needs to be now involved into this discussion. We heard about positive thoughts. How many of you have negative thoughts? Can we share those? Please, each one. Just one negative thought.
I'm not good enough.
You are not good enough. What else? Yes?
I get failed in chemistry exam.
Oh, that's of your every student has. Anybody else?
I feel I'm not negative, I'm more realistic. I just justify my negative thoughts as being realistic and not negative, whereas other people in the family feel I'm negative.
Yeah.
So I think I'm just being realistic. Others are being too positive.
Whereas that positivity, I guess, helps them move more towards the positive part of it.
I really don't know if it does. I don't believe in that as of now.
Okay.
And I feel it's better to be more realistic that, okay, if you have 10 eggs in the basket, you have 10 eggs in the basket. And if you feel that, no, you have 50, you just keep thinking you have 50. No, I will just say that they are just 10. So, you accordingly, you work on it because they're 10 only. But if other people want to be positive and say, no, we have 50 in the bag, I don't agree with that. So I don't know who's right and who's wrong. I don't know.
Who else has negative thoughts?
I think we all have
I have thought I'm going to be alone one day.
Okay.
I'm going to be left alone.
Okay, what happens to you when you have negative thoughts? You're scared?
I get anxious.
You get anxious?
Yeah.
Your palms start sweating?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. What else
Heart
happens?
starts beating.
Ears go red.
My heart starts
Who
beating.
else? Yeah. Okay. So all those symptoms are there of negative thoughts. What about a person who's constantly thinking negatively? What happens to such a person? Please, everybody, start thinking and speaking up.
Person is grumpy all the time. Person is bitter.
He is bitter and
Pessimistic.
Person attracts more negativity.
correct.
It's an downward spiral, so
You just keep going that way. People don't like you because you're constantly speaking negative and you're trying to analyze everything according to what you think is right. That is a major part of it. And if you're thinking negative and you're analyzing everything from your own aspect, you will never be able to listen to the other person or realize what the other person is saying. So this kind of a person becomes very arrogant also. He's so puffed up in what he knows, what he believes in is to be right, that that person becomes lonely. Even if he reaches the top, he's still lonely. So we need to actually not condition our brain with negative thoughts.
The moment you start with negative thinking, the conditioning begins in the brain, which needs to be stopped. You have to be more empathetic towards everybody. Try and absorb what the other person is saying, because a person with negative thoughts usually does not absorb what the other person is saying. He has a fixed set of ideas, he'll follow just those, he or she, I would rather say, and believe in what thought process is there. So anybody, how do we change negative thoughts to positive thoughts? Please.
Practice.
Practice. You got it right. We need to practice. And actually, the moment you realize you're thinking negatively, stop thinking those thoughts. You need to change the thought process. Do something else. Break that connection from them. It needs to be done. The moment you start thinking positively, things change. Because the mindset changes, the conditioning of the brain changes, the thought process is then on a positive mode. So you're going up, you're trying to be friendly, you're trying to meet people, you're trying to agree with things and try and do things for others. All those are very positive things that happen into us. And that really helps us. Ruqya, you want to add something to this? Yeah? Really? Yeah, sure.
Chadha, so you got to be off lot of praying. Yes, I think when you are repeating and practicing, it definitely helps. And what's the story you're telling yourself? Are you telling a good story? Are you telling a bad story? And that leaves an impression on the mind. And I think that's where we go into a spiral, as you rightfully said.
That's true.
That's true. So, any thoughts?
Any thoughts? Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, please.
I have a question from Shubhi. So, you mentioned that when you're thinking or imagining something, it's happening in a parallel world.
Yes.
So, could you just, maybe touch up a little more on that? Because I'm not sure if I completely agree with that. So, maybe if you could share some more information that sort of helps.
Okay, so you all know that we are spiritual beings, right? And nowadays spirituality and supernatural is being marketed so much. So I think we all are aware of there is something known as supernatural realm. Let's take an example that in our ancient days there was people used to do havan at their place, right? For all the my international friends, so in ancient days in our household, we used to burn some wood with some incense and spices so that it lightens up the entire atmosphere. So it used to, but it's not practiced regularly in everybody's household. I have just taken a random example. So why we used to do that? Because we always believe there is a spiritual realm, and many a times you feel that you are scared inside, but everything is very light and very bright outside. So here comes the spiritual and parallel world. I actually, this is a very broad topic. If you are okay to spend some time with me, I can do it offline.
We have a phone speaker. Yeah. She's coming. Soumya.
We'd like to just welcome Soumya.
Hi everyone, I'm Soumya. I'm a psychologist. I've been sitting at the back because my car broke down and I arrived really late. So, so should I just kind of, pick up? I've got my own content, but since we're talking about the spiritual realm, and yes, I agree with you, of course, the Havan still happens, even now. And I don't think there's anything backward about believing that there exists a spiritual realm, because, I'll tell you my personal experience. In my bachelor's and master's, I've studied in GU, which is considered to be like the psychology department, the best in the country. And we were always taught Western psychology, like this thick books written by everything from Freud to humanism, behaviorism, everything, and now positive psychology with Martin Seligman, right? And what we're finding out now is that
after 100 years of psychology's evolution all around the globe, the Westerners, they're actually realizing, that is, I mean, the Americans, they are the most progressive. I mean, so far they've done a massive amount of research in psychology, thanks to the World War I and II, which have given us so much psychometric tests and so much research into our own mind and behavior, into the understanding of it. At the end of it, it's now that they're realizing that there exists something beyond the body and the mind, and maybe there is something called as the soul. You know, maybe the Indians were right all along, you know. And now they're looking at Gita, and Gita is actually considered to be the first psychology textbook ever written all across the globe. And I believe, you know, India has so much to offer. And when we're talking about spiritual realm, I think we really need to ask ourselves, do we only believe what we see? And do we only believe something which is scientifically proven as yet? Because science itself is evolving, right? Every day there are new discoveries. And there's so many discoveries and so many things we know for facts today, which, I mean, you know, everyone would laugh at. Even the possibility, if somebody talked about it, would be considered a wacko, right? So, there's so many things which we know exist today. So, what actually happened earlier is that, of course, like as we all know, in the medieval times, religion was an authority, right? So, the church decided, you know, that all the planets revolved around the earth, and the sun revolved around the earth. And science, when challenged it, so when Galileo and, you know, all these astronauts who formed their secret society, and they did, you know, they said, no, it's actually all the planets revolve around the sun, they were put into a jail or they were killed, right? So science, anyone, you know, who dared to oppose the authority, the word authority on what's right and what the truth is, it was so, it was just completely unacceptable. So science was a welcome break when it started getting accepted, but at the same time, what happened later on is that science became the authority. And it happens till date. I mean, as Indians, we need to realize that why do we find so much validity, and why do we find it easier to believe it when somebody with a white skin says it? You know, if we just add the word research to it. Please don't get me wrong, I'm not a philosopher, I'm a psychologist, and psychology is a science and not an art. Yes, practicing psychology may also be an art, but I have studied rigorous scientific researches, and whatever I'm speaking today, I'm speaking on the basis of science, but I also acknowledge, thankfully, thanks to some of my professors in India who have also done their research work, you know, across the globe, is that there do exist things, like Shakespeare said, there are more things which exist. I don't remember the exact dialogue because it was a medieval kind of English, I don't know, you know, apologies for that, but what he basically said was that there exist more things under the sun and in this universe than you can imagine. Right? And are we actually arrogant, so arrogant enough as to believe that we actually know everything and we have found out everything that there was to find out, you know, in our whatever millions or, you know, thousands of years of existence on this earth? We know how long evolution took, right? I mean, when you talk about physically and how the brain size changed and how everything changed, how we started using, for example, the frontal cortex of our brain more when we started using, you know, more advanced thinking processes as compared to our medulla, which is called the primitive part of our brain. So, I don't mean to get all technical, but what I mean to say is that even our brains have evolved, our teeth have evolved, right? Everything has evolved. So, let's not just draw the line here and say that we do know. You know, so far, it's safe to say that so far, this is what we know. But there do exist things which we do not even know of. For example, okay, why do we have such a problem when we talk about, you know, when somebody says they had a paranormal experience, you know, or, you know, maybe they kind of, you know, somebody was whispering their name, or, you know, they had a paranormal encounter. I mean, why do most of us not believe it? Yes, because one, okay, maybe we've not had an encounter like that. Maybe we've never heard of somebody having an encounter like that. But what is it that, I mean, is it arrogance, or what is it that makes us think that just because we have not experienced something, somebody else may have also not experienced it? Or do we feel that we just kind of, are we coming from, you know, know-it-all university? So, like, we just know it all? So that's something to think about. And okay, for example, how many people in this room can say that at one point or the other they've had an intuition about something? Can you please raise your hands? Intuition. And by intuition, I don't mean a logical analysis, you know. Like, you know, it's not like, sometimes people use the word intuition very loosely, you know, when they say that this is gonna happen. And like a friend of mine in college used to always say, I have a very strong intuition this is gonna happen. And I used to ask her why. And then she would always give me a logical reason which showed me that she had done, you know, all sorts of rationalization and analysis of it. And I said, that's not an intuition. You know, an intuition is that you're probably, yeah, you're not, there's no way for you to know that something's gonna happen. Like, you're busy doing your work, and or, you know, sometimes we get these, like, this visions, like a really strong feeling that, okay, but mothers have it all the time, right? When something bad happens to their children, they have like a strong feeling that, you know, I really need to be with my child right now, right? And then there is something called as deja vu. Anyone who experienced deja vu? Deja vu is simply that before we actually experience something, you know, like sometimes, you know, something happens, like I'm here in this room, right? And you're sitting here, and you suddenly have a feeling like, oh, this has happened before. This person said exactly this, and then she reacted like this, and then the door opened, and she walked out, or, you know, or somebody came in, and, you know, that is deja vu, right? So, what happens, and this happens not only when we're awake, but also when we're sleeping, because our unconscious never sleeps. Our unconscious is actually the soul. Whatever name you give it, psychology calls it consciousness, subconscious, the unconscious. Okay, I mean, otherwise it's called like body, mind, soul, right? The unconscious never sleeps. So while we're actually sleeping, our soul travels to other realms, and those are parallel realities. Coming to parallel realities, you know, I mean, we are existing. Like Dr. Gloria talked about it yesterday. It was a great experience to attend your session. She said that time is a continuum, and it's something that I have read about and I believe in. Time is not about, you know, time is not like, you know, from A to B. It's not actually moving. It's a constant. It's just a matter of, and everything that ever existed, everything that is going to exist in the future is happening simultaneously right now. It's just a matter of whether you walked into door A or door B or door C. These are all parallel realities existing at the same time. So time is actually a constant. And sometimes we get this feeling in our gut, which is like, sometimes it is an intuition that I don't want to do this, you know, because your soul has in another time traveled to that part of, you know, that part of reality that is telling you, you know, this was not so much fun, so just let's try and avoid that, you know, for this time, you know, and sometimes things really excite us, you know, like we feel so excited when, like, suppose when we meet a person, we don't even know how we make that connect with somebody the first time, right? Sometimes there's an opportunity, you don't know anything, for example, a new job, or I'm hoping, like, so many people from different countries have flown to India. I'm hoping that, you know, if something excited you, even though, I mean, I heard that day in the Peacock Ballroom about 2 days ago, there was somebody who had so many financial issues, who had health issues, but something, you know, just said, it was Dixie's session. She said that she just knew that I'm going to India, no matter what, and that has happened with me too. So, yeah, let's not become know-it-alls, and let's be open to new experiences. And when talking about the power of thoughts, you know, it's Einstein who is, I believe, and many people believe he is the greatest scientist and greatest genius who ever lived, right? I mean, there's so many geniuses, and he said that imagination is unlimited, right? So let's not try to limit our imagination. The more irrational your dream is, the more crazy or audacious your dream is, the better. Because as long as you're judging from your past experience, whether or not I will be able to do this particular task, you're actually making an analysis on, you know, you're kind of doing a data analysis based on the information that you already have. But when you dare to plunge into something which you have no idea about how it could ever happen, that is what a dream truly is. Otherwise, it's not a dream. Otherwise, it's just kind of a calculation, right? So there's a lot I would like to say, but yeah, the time is up. So I hope you enjoyed this session. Thank you.
will just put a question.
Can I ask a question? Yes, please. Okay, so when you're talking about negative and positive thoughts, you're presuming that when you have negative thoughts, something bad's going to happen, and when you have positive thoughts, something good's going to happen. And I think it's spawned this huge industry of self-help books, of life coaches, of NLP and hypnotism and what have you, where people keep going to these new age gurus who tell them, think positive and good is going to happen, think negative, bad is going to happen. My question is, there are 5 people who are going for a business pitch, let's say, and all of these 5 people constantly thinking positive and say, I'm going to win, I'm going to win. There's only one person who's going to win. So I think, do we not sometimes take this whole concept of positive thought a bit too far? We have a spiritual guru who comes home who talks about Bhagavad Gita, and his whole concept is, which I buy into, that if you are in this world, there's going to be happiness and there's going to be unhappiness. And our philosophy is about serendipity. Sometimes things are not going to go your way, and you need to accept it. But when we are constantly focusing so much about positivism and you have to win in every situation because you think positive, it's translated into success, then I think there is another problem that we are creating also.
Right, okay, so I did not really, okay, but yes, of course.
Because
so positive, okay, I did
before you.
No, of course, I mean, of course, that is the theme which is going around the room, and I did not particularly focus on that topic.
I was asking this question to anyone of the panelists.
So I'm okay, I'm going to answer that to you right now. So, yes, so positive thinking does not mean that nothing's ever going to go wrong with you, but what you actually consider right or wrong. It's about your perception. See, it's very important to kind of, we perceive the world, right? We are making judgments and evaluations all the time. But it's so important to look at the lens through which we are viewing the world. Okay? So when you're talking about positive thinking, it's about having a positive attitude, it's about actually cleaning that lens. Okay? So it's about maybe there's dust on it, or maybe there's whatever. And positive thinking doesn't mean that you become unrealistic, but the thing is that you learn to accept reality in a sense that you know that this is going to serve you something. You either, see, a person like you said, the example which you gave, 5 people start their own respective businesses. See, according to Forbes magazine, 90% businesses fail in their first year of operations. So that's a fact. So suppose I never learned about the facts, okay, and I just plunged into a business, let's say, and at the end of the year, I don't have any working capital to keep it going. I can't pay the monthly rents or something. So what determines whether I keep going and I learn from it, because what I also talked about is the willingness to learn and accept that we don't know everything. So if I take into account everything that I have learned from my experience, my successes and my failures, and then go for it again.
Sorry, that wasn't my question. My question was that there's so much out there in the market today, which clearly links positivism, positive thoughts to success. That you think positive, you go into a pitch and you say, I'm going to win, I'm going to win, I'm going to win, and you're going to win. And because of that, there's a huge market out there of, bookstores full of self-help books. People go for these self-help conferences for 3 days and they feel good, and then, you're back to square one. So my question is, all this hypnotism, whatever you name it, there's many sciences which have been developed. And so my question is, really what's happening? And maybe Ruqya, maybe you could answer that, because you talked a lot, about. So my question is that, yes, it's good to think positive, but is there not a market out there which is actually also creating a very false hope for many people? That, you just think positive, 5 people go into a pitch and all 5 people want to win. Only one is going to win, 4 are not going to win. Even if you convince your brain that I will win this business today.
So I would again take you back to SMILE, where I summed it up with SMILE, where you silence the mind, You understand your intention and how you move forward. Again, the market that you talk about, the self-help books and all of that, does exist, and they have their intention. But what do you want to get from it? Do you want to follow that, or do you want to not? And how do you want to take things forward? So acceptance and gratitude is what I usually use, and I think that's the best way to go forward.
I also want to add another thing to it. I'm sorry, because your question was kind of had several points in it, so I was addressing one about it. When you're talking about an industry becoming out of it, of course, commercialization, anywhere where you lose the intent to help somebody else, integrity lost in any business or any profession is not the best thing that can happen, right? But talking about positivity and whether it's actually effective or not, it can be effective. Ask yourself this: how many days can you go without complaining about something? And because I want to tell you something. Neuropsychology has found. I'll just sum up with one fact. I can't sum it up, but I'll just leave you with one thought, that whether we are perceiving something in our reality or we are imagining it, neurological connections are formed in our brain, and our brain is not able to decipher whether it's reality or it's reality or it's imagination. So when these gurus, like you said, they talk about creative visualization or giving gratitude, they're not actually, it's not about, it could be tricking your mind, but it's not something unethical. It is something which is actually very effective, given that you practice it every day. So if you can, and it's not that, you just repeat an affirmation to yourself every day and you don't have your heart in it. It's definitely not going to work. Sometimes you don't know how things are going to work, but if you know that I'm going to find my way out of this. For example, don't mind, I'm just taking another few seconds. My car broke down today. I was just a few kilometers away from the conference. I've been attending it since, I've been on time every day. Just today when I had to speak, something happened. I was sweating on the highway for the longest time. So I had to call, one of my family friends to help me. And, here I am. I reached late, but this did happen, right? Otherwise, I would have just totally missed it. And trust me, the content I prepared for today on the power of thought and all the research evidence, I've not spoken about that today. But anything that happened, and there's a lot of stress, but nothing stopped me from coming here because I just had this thought that no, this is not going away. This is going to happen. I don't know why. I'm not getting money to do this, but I'm happy doing this because I felt I had something to contribute. And if I've just, helped even one sentence that I've spoken has resonated with even one person sitting here, I think I've done my job. So, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, we're going to round up. Could you please have a picture of the speakers? Very brief, because I think we're way over time.
Ma'am, I just want to add one thing here. Thinking positive or thinking negative is just a choice we make. It's like suppose if I am having a diabetes. So thoughts are like disease. Negative thoughts are like disease. No need to go to any counselor or don't spend money. If anybody is charging you money, please don't go there. I'm not against doctors, but thoughts are like disease. If I have a diabetes and I keep on eating sugar, anyhow I'm going to hurt myself. So I just have to, by thinking positive, what I'm doing is I'm understanding that I'm having diabetes, but what I'm going to decide is I'm not going to take this sugar. So I'm not feeling it. It's just like that.
Please check the discussions offline.
I have a point.
Go photo.
Everyone please come here. Please have a picture.
Why are you looking at flowers? ये तो होता है सारी जगह पर यही लेट हो जाता है पहली बार 7-7 मिनट मेरे नंबर करवाएगा
Guys, selfies take come.
join us here?
Please, ma'am.
Let's begin.
Let's do the picture together. I promise to send it to everybody.
Soumya?
Oh, they will. Come on. Let's see. Guys, come on in. They have to fit in very small. Over here? Hey, is anybody else coming in? Come on. Let's make this for sure. No. I will not. Okay, put in. Smile. Thank you. And if anybody wants this picture, it's RK Right to go on Facebook. Thank you.
That's why having the next session.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming.
नहीं वो वाली जो मैंने थैंक यू
Outside.